Hi, I'm Mike Motteram, the account manager at Fortifi, and in this video I'm going to take you through getting started with marketing. This might be setting up your affiliate marketing program, or it might be just setting up records to manage your internal marketing through Fortifi to track how well that's being received. So in this video, we'll go through setting your DNS settings for marketing, creating a publisher record, and creating a campaign against that publisher so you can start tracking clicks, leads, and acquisitions. So to get started, in Fortifi, within the navigation menu on the left, click on Integration Guides. From here, click on DNS Zones, and you will see how to configure your DNS for marketing. The one that we're interested in is the URL or track or link or click. These need to be altered in your DNS settings to forward to the CNAME of url.fortifi.zone. There is a video on configuring your DNS, so do have a look at that if you haven't seen it already. But once you've configured your DNS settings, we can now create a publisher record. To do this, click on Publishers in the navigation menu on the left. And we can see I've got one publisher here, but we'll create another record. So we just click on Create Publisher. This could be an external publisher that you're working with, or it could be an internal publisher record for dealing with things like your internal Facebook campaigns or Google pay-per-click, and you want to track how well those are doing. So I'm going to put it in as Compare Networks. It's just an example publisher record that I'm going to use. Enter in an email address for these. Again, for your internal ones, you wouldn't need to necessarily enter you wouldn't have an external email to enter, but you can enter in an internal email address there. And the password field is used for the publisher control panel. So this is how your publishers can log into their own control panel of Fortifi and see any clicks, leads, acquisitions that they've made, and how these are affecting their upcoming paychecks, etc. We can see in the type there's a whole bunch of different types that you can select for this publisher record. Affiliate, customer, offline, print, etc. This is more for a reporting point of view. So you can start breaking down your marketing based on the type of publisher record. I'm going to leave mine as affiliate for now. The foundation gives you an option of a couple of inbuilt foundations, an internal, no foundation, or any other foundations you may have already created. How to create foundations and what they do is covered in a different video, but essentially they are just groups of affiliate records or publisher records. So I'm going to leave mine on CPA. I'm going to enter in a website address. And a phone number. The display name will automatically have been populated from when we entered the name of the publisher at the top here. This is different to the name. The name is what will be displayed in their publisher control panel. It's what they'll be known as themselves. The display name is a bit different. It's only used within Fortifi. So you could use this to append on the maybe the account manager for this publisher, or any other information that you might see important when you're viewing your publisher records within Fortifi. You might be drawn to the second part of the display name, or you might have a few different compare network type affiliates, so it helps you break those down. The username is defaulted to info, but you can change it here should you want. And again, this is the username that this publisher will use to sign into their publisher control panel. So I'm going to click on Create Publisher there, and that will create through. And here we have a publisher record. So we're almost there. We're almost ready to start sending traffic through this publisher's banners or blogs or links, any of the backlinks they're going to use to force traffic through to your website. But the one thing that we're missing is a campaign. This gives us the link that we need to give to our publisher for them to put into those banners, into those links that will send through to your website. And it also allows us to track any traffic that this publisher is sending to us, which allows us to build up things like the Paycheck, but also tracking into the reporting and see where we're getting those visitors and the information on them. So I'm going to click on Campaigns, and we'll be told that we don't have any campaigns at the moment, so it'll go straight to the Add Campaign section. There will be a brand section here, and you can choose different brands if you have more than one. So I'm going to enter a display name for this campaign. Now you can have multiple campaigns against each publisher. This might be really useful if they are running different promotions. They might have some certain websites where they're entering in a banner record with some imagery on it, and they might have some other websites where they're entering a banner record with some other imagery because it's more targeted towards those sites' audience and they're expecting better traffic. And you might want to split those into different campaigns so you can track how well each is working. Similarly, you might have time-ended campaigns that only span the launch of a few weeks. And so on and so forth. So you can set up different campaigns against your publishers for all the different reasons that they might have to split their marketing into those different areas. So I'm going to set one up just for, in this instance, the month of July. Might be they've got some July themed banners, spring, summer. Maybe that's kind of the theme of this campaign, and they want to track how well that does and move on to other campaigns later on. So we can see now we've got a campaign created for a name of July, and we've got a tracking link here based on this campaign. So you can see the tracking link is prefixed with URL dot. This is what I looked at earlier on in those DNS settings, where we forwarded on one of those host names through to our scene name of url.fortifi.zone. In my organization, I left that set to URL dot. But you could set it to track or click or link. So that's why the DNS settings needs to be made, because this tracking link will pass information through to, in my case, fortel.li. In your case, it will be your domain address, and that will forward on via DNS settings through to Fortifi, and we'll track that link. So that's the tracking link that we can provide to our publisher. And we can see that we've got a little link builder section down here, which just allows us to build up a dummy link without having to create anything. We can put some information in here, build that link, copy it, and paste it over to our publisher. We can see that the action at the moment is looking at is clicks, but we can put in some SID information. So this is sub-ID information that you can add onto a campaign link. It's very useful for tracking various bits of information, things like maybe the username of the visitor if they're in a signed in site on your affiliate network, maybe the affiliate ID, maybe their grouping. It all depends on the publisher and what they want to track, but you can track further information here should you want to. I'm just going to put in ID 1234 and we'll put that in from the UK. As an example, we can see it's building it up into this link builder down here, and that's just very useful for you to put some dummy information in here, build up a link, and provide that to your publisher. So that's the campaign created. We've got our link, we've sent that off to the publisher, and they can now start making use of that link. So there's a couple more bits that we need to do for a publisher record to really finish and make sure that marketing is going to just start working throughout. And one of those is creating policies against this advertiser, this publisher, to ensure that when they send us information via clicks or leads or acquisitions, we are giving them the right commission accordingly. So if I click onto policies, we can see that any policies that we currently have will be listed here, but there aren't any at the moment. And we've got on our navigation on the left, we've got the different types of policies that we can set up. So obviously in the first instance, we're looking at a commission policy. This is how we're going to pay our publishers or our affiliates for the information they're sending to us. So there's also reversals on here, which is how we deal with reclaiming some commission from any advertisers if their leads or acquisitions reverse within a set time period. We also have traffic blocks, which allows you to block any traffic from particular countries or particular IP ranges, or anything that you define as not being valid traffic. We also have brand visibility and action visibility, which controls what is available to see in the publisher control panel. And we also have endpoints, which is how we define custom landing areas for your customers when they go through links for this publisher. So we'll just focus on commission for now. So within the filters section, we can define a number of rules which will need to be met in order for this commission policy to be triggered. So we can see that I've set the action to be acquisition. That could be a lead or a renewal or an upsell. And within the rest of the filters, we can start really drilling down on the type of acquisition that we receive. It might be that you have a policy with this publisher to pay them a certain amount of commission for any acquisitions through a particular device type or a particular platform. Or it might be that you're just going to pay them a stock value based on every acquisition that is created. So you can really build these up as you need to. And then down here we have the total amount of commission that you can enter. So this is broken out by all countries here, where I can just type in an amount. I'm just going to put that to 20 here. And we can see that's going to update through, and $20 is now assigned to every single country because I used that all countries tag. It might be that you've decided with this publisher that you're going to pay them less or more from particular countries because the acquisitions that you get through typically from those countries provide a better sale rate or a better conversion rate. So down the list here we can see all of the different countries available, and you can just click onto any of these, for instance Australia, and just change the commission rate for that country. So I'll just set that to 30, and we now know that this commission policy will be hit every time there is an acquisition made because I haven't applied any other rules to it. And if the country of the visitor is any country other than Australia, the commission will be $20. If it's Australia, the commission will be $30. So in this way you can start building up policies which really are targeted to the specific data types that you want, be them country, device, platform, etc. And that lets you match the terms and conditions you've set with your publisher. So if we now click back onto policies, we'll get a list of all the policies that have been created, and we can see here I have one that is just for all countries unless the country is Australia, and our $20 and $30 payouts. So that's how to create commission policies. The last bit to make sure that this publisher will get paid is to set up their paycheck settings. So if we go into finance, on the navigation on the left, we can see all of the different paycheck settings and also some tools for cost import and commission rates, etc. So on the pending paychecks, this would list out any pending paychecks for this publisher, any that are due to be paid in the future, awaiting approval, that sort of thing. On the paychecks tab, we would be able to see any future paychecks. These are ones that have already been approved and are waiting to be paid out. If we click on the paycheck settings, that's what we need to set up now as part of the setup for this publisher. So by default, all of the paycheck settings will have been pulled in either from the organization settings or from the foundation that we selected when we created this publisher. We can see here that in grey we have those default settings already set: a minimum payout of $200, a reserve of 10%, reserve days of 30, etc. But you can override these should you want to. I'll just go through them. So the minimum payout, this basically means with my $20 per acquisition policy, we would need to get at least 10 acquisitions from this publisher before a paycheck would be generated. If they got to 9 acquisitions and we're at $180, and the paycheck was due to be generated, it just wouldn't at this point until they had breached that 200 payout mark. So it might be that it rolls on to the next paycheck period, which might be the next week or the next month. The reserve just details the amount of money we're going to reserve out of that commission for a number of days. So these two work in conjunction. In this instance, we're reserving 10% of their commission for 30 days. This just means that you haven't paid out absolutely everything at the point of the paycheck. If some of their acquisitions that they've sent through reverse within 30 days, you've lost all of that sales income, but you would have paid out all of the commission to the publisher. This reserve just allows you to claim back some of that commission rate to make sure that those sales are genuine, they're not going to reverse, you've got that sales revenue in the bank before you pay out the rest of the commission. So the next thing we have is the frequency. Now again, this will be defaulted from the organization settings or the foundation settings, but within here you can say it's going to be on the every month on the 1st, that's from our default, or you can start putting in when you want this to pay out. So I could put in weekly, and that will open up this second section where we can tell it to be every 1 week, every 2 weeks, and what day of the week we'd like to pay it out on. So I could set that to be every 2 weeks on a Monday. And the last thing we have is the payment delay date, which again can be defaulted or set, and this will just delay this paycheck payout for the number of days set here. So we'll just save that policy, and any changes that we've made there will now be set against this publisher. This publisher is now ready to go. So that's it. That's how to get started on marketing, how to create a publisher record, create a campaign, and define some Paycheck settings to pay those publishers.